All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cattlemen's Congress, Saliers and Optimizers show. We're going to get things started this afternoon with our Class 1 early heifer calves.
All right, well, good afternoon. I'm excited to be out here judging your Salier cattle. We've got a February individual here to get us kicked off in the Pure Junior Show. A really shapely kind of female here, one that just brings you a lot of different shapes in the right places. You love the rib cage in her, love the hip shape and stifle that she brings to you. A really extended kind of individual. Wish that maybe she carried some of that power down to the surface with a notch more consistency and maybe reached out and grabbed with a little more authority on those rear two, but a really youthful and shapely kind of individual that I think will stack up great in the drive.
All right, your results for Class 1 early heifer calves. First place goes to back number 724, GGT Bloom 6160J, owned by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. Also want to go ahead and take this time to introduce our judge. He'll be spending his time with us this afternoon, Mr. Taylor Shackelford. Taylor currently resides here in Oklahoma City and is a leadership development consultant. Originally, he hails from North Texas, where he grew up showing Herefords and club calves. His family still raises Herefords and club calves to this day. Taylor graduated from Texas Tech University with a degree in Ag Communications and was also a member of the Texas Tech National Champion Livestock Judging Team. So once again, thank you, Taylor, for being here, and congratulations to our first class winner. And at this time, we have Class 4A Junior Yearling Heifers entering the ring with a single entry.
Another single here, and we jump up to next February with this one. Honestly, this young lady's got kind of a pattern that she likes in her females, and I got to tell you that I'm impressed with it. Female, again, that brings you just a ton of spring, maybe not the most amount of depth for the length that she's got, but a female that's got the right kind of rib cage, the right kind of hip and muscle shape there. Going to add a lot to that next generation. You could probably talk about her structure in the same manner that you talked the last female, though I do think she's a little bit probably flatter and more feminine in her joint work. I like this one a good deal.
And congratulations, your results for Class 4A Junior Yearling Heifer. First place goes to back number 725, GGT Wellers 469H, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. Up next, we have Class 4B Junior Yearling Heifers with 2 entries.
Definitely two high-quality, heavy-bred January females here in this pair. I won't place them exactly right now. I'll talk them and tell you the differences that I see and then tell you how I think I like them. I'll talk about the young lady who's up here at the front of the line first, a female that sort of similar to the younger heifers that we've seen in this show so far, really brings that shape and the muscle pattern that you like to see from this breed. Love the shapes that she draws through that center rib. I could be critical of the shape that she is right behind her shoulder, just gets a little more tight there in her heart and forerib, and not quite as consistent in terms of volume through the center section of her body. And a female that, too, is not quite as consistent when she gets around the ring. Wants to kind of paddle just a little bit off her front, too, and not really reach out and go off those rear. I think it's probably because she's got a calf squeezed up in there, and she's coming to us just a notch fuller there and carrying some of that fill to the top side of her spine out here. Maybe not the most comfortable time for her in her life, but I think that if you get your stop and study her angles, this female's got a world of future in her. She's definitely sound enough to go out and make a cow. I don't think that's an issue. You've got one that probably is a little more elite in her structure here behind her. I'm not telling you that it's the most beautiful thing in the world. She does get a little shorter about her hip and carry her hind leg up under herself on the go, but a female that definitely has a little more set and relaxation there to her joint work, is a little more collected and cool as she gets around the ring. It's beyond that, though, that though she's more extended, I guess, you get a little bit looser in terms of just the dewlap that she carries there to the front side of her skeleton. One that definitely is a little bit more maternal, maybe in the rib cage that she's sitting on the center section there. Just not quite as snazzy to look at, but you know, a more rugged, more big boned, big featured kind of option. I think the decision comes down to which one is your style, and the style for me is going to land on the young lady's heifer here today. She's going to win this close pair. Young man, that's a good one there in second.
All right, your results for Class 4B Junior Yearling Heifers. First place goes to back number 727, JCGC Heidi 012H, exhibited by Brittany Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri. Second place, back number 726, CBH Harmony 006H, exhibited by Christian Hirsch, also of Thayer, Missouri. At this time, we will bring back your class winners and show for Grand Champion Salier's Junior Heifer.
Well, for only having 4 head, this is quite the lineup that you've got out here for your champion junior pure Solaire female. I'm not going to talk about each of them individually. I think that we've done that pretty recently here, and what it comes down to whenever you're picking a champion ultimately is picking which one is just more your kind and more your style. For me, there's one that has everything that I'm looking for, but I like the structural package that she comes in for that reason. Young lady in the middle, you're going to be our champion Solaire female. We'll follow her up with our oldest class for reserve.
And congratulations, your grand champion, Solaire's Junior Heifer, goes to back number 725, GGT Willers 469, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. Your reserve champion, Solaire's Junior Heifer, goes to back number 727, JCGC Heidi 012H, exhibited by Brittany Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri. Congratulations to all of our junior Solaire's exhibitors. We'd also like to thank the Arkansas Junior Solaire's Association for sponsoring those banners. And up next, we're going to roll right into our Optimizer Junior Heifer Show, starting with Class 5A Late Spring Heifer Calves. All right, at this time, we're going to bring in all of our Optimizer Junior Heifers. We have 4 classes, each single entries. So we will select our Grand Champion and Reserve Grand Champion Optimizer Junior Heifer. From Class 5A for late spring heifer calves, we have back number 728, FFCC Glamorous Guppy 390J, exhibited by Lauren Frederick of Hutchinson, Kansas. From Class 5C, early heifer calves, we have back number 730, GGT Riva 204J, exhibited by Bailey Matlock of Seaman, Oklahoma. From Class 6, senior heifer calves, we have back number 731, that's Harper 773, exhibited by Ashley Schrag of Mound Ridge, Kansas. And from Class 8, spring yearling heifer calves, we have back number 732, GGT label 650H, exhibited by Bailey Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma.
Well, just four again here in the Optimizer Junior Show, and we'll talk about each of these individually as they're all single entry class winners. To start off with your March heifer calf up here, a female that just really brings a lot of freshness and presence out here to us, a big structured kind of heifer, really big middled. The female that truly just hits you as maternal and as one that can really add a lot to the next generation out here. I'd be the first to admit that she'd probably be a little bit neater if she was more whistle fronted, but that doesn't bother me too much. I like the way that she's built and the angles that she sets. As she gets around the ring, she does kind of pinch ever so slightly right there around her loin and kind of want to twist off of her rear too, but like I mentioned, I still call her incredibly sound. I love those angles that she draws, and to handle that kind of feature and stoutness, I think that's impressive. Back behind her, the January female here, one that looks a little bit kind of like a yearling should at this stage, a little bit more longer than she is deep at this point, just kind of getting away from us there on our frame and length, but when she starts to body down, she's got the right kind of rib cage, one that again is really refined and kind of attractive in the features that she brings out here. If you're going to get critical of her, she probably just doesn't have quite the depth and the oomph out here by comparison to some of the females that stand on either side of her, but like I said, brings a lot of attractiveness, a lot of femininity to the game. The power heifer is right here in the September female. This brown tinge female has just got shape running throughout, shapes all over. Being that shapely, it's sometimes difficult to fit them all into one package and fit them all together. I don't know that she quite does that for us out here. She sends her neck more generic, more out the middle of her skeleton there, and doesn't quite want to operate with the most flexibility and longevity off those rear two, but a female that, like I said, brings a ton of power to the next generation, a nice package for that young lady to go home and breed on. And then you've got the final female here, our bred heifer, one that's really extended in her kind of a combination tandem female with all the pieces that kind of work together. Is she the biggest structured? No. Is she probably the most comfortable in terms of the angulation to her front 1/3? I'm also going to say no there too, but I think she's plenty acceptable. I think that I like what she does put together in the package that she brings us, and there's just not a lot of reason to criticize much further there. For me, this is a really good lineup here. I'm really pleased with just the forehead that we've got out here. It's a pretty logical decision for me. Young lady at the front of the line, congratulations, you're a champion optimizer. If you guys will put your hands together for her, and I'll go out and select you a reserve.
And congratulations to back number 728, FCC Glamorous Guppy 390J, exhibited by Lauren Frederick of Hutchinson, Kansas, with her Grand Champion Optimizer Junior Heifer. And congratulations, your reserve champion Optimizer Junior Heifer goes to back number 732, GGT label 650H, exhibited by Bailey Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. All right, at this time, we're going to show Class 14F Early Spring Yearling Heifers that calved from March 2020. After this class, we will have our champion drive and select your grand champion optimizer female and reserve champion optimizer female. Also, we would like to thank the Oklahoma Junior Salers Association for sponsoring the Optimizer Junior Heifer banners for that last drive.
Well, I'll talk these two as individuals, even though one of them was just reserve of the show that we had prior. I'll talk about the gentlemen's here at the back of the line first, a female that really just blends together really neatly, really square from the ground up, a bigger boned kind of female that hits you with just a notch more power, and a female that when you get in behind her, you're certainly not disappointed. Big chested, a little coarser about her teat work there, maybe just a female that isn't quite the most maybe feminine thing you've ever seen, but I think that you've got to have a powerful cow to make a powerful next generation, and so I appreciate those things about her. We called the young lady's heifer when we saw her in the junior show the combination female, and I stand by that. She does have just enough of everything to really go together and be a nice package, but when you get her out here by comparison, she's just not quite as deep, she's just not quite as maternal through that center section there, and doesn't take that stoutness and shapeliness that we appreciate about her all the way down to the surface with so much consistency as you find right behind her. For that reason, I'm going to leave you in second out here, young lady. Congratulations to the gentleman behind you. You'll win this class for us.
All right, congratulations. Your results for Class 14F Early Spring Yearling Heifers. First place goes to back number 706, JB Holly 2H, exhibited by Jace Belts of Canton, Kansas. Second place goes to back number 715, GGT Label 650H, exhibited by Bailey Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. We'd like to thank our Grand Champion banner sponsor, Rowell Cattle Company, and also like to thank our Division Award sponsors, Larry Wright Cattle Company, GG&T Cattle Company, and DFO Cattle Services.
Well, I had to apologize to the young lady out here with our Class 4 representative, a female that we hadn't seen yet. So we'll go ahead and talk her individually before we talk about how I think she stacks up against the rest of the line out here. This female brings a ton of power and a ton of width out here. A lot of dimension working through her skeleton. Maybe not the most feminine thing you've ever seen, but you got to appreciate just the width through the center portion of her skeleton. If we could rearrange her and maybe flatten her in a little bit neater, more feminine and more extended there through her front 1/3 relative to what lies behind it, I think that you like her a lot better on the standstill. Even when she's on the move, though, I just still need to see her a notch more flexible to really be out here and give it a go for overall champion Solera female or Solera balancer female out here. But with the rest of the 4 represented, we talked about each of those already. You come back down here to the class winner and my champion from the last show, a female that just brings you a lot of freshness and a lot of look out here. How she stacks up against the rest of the competition is I think she's just one of the smoothest blending females that we've got. You know, she's probably not the biggest in her heart, the biggest in her forerib at this stage, but she is the youngest out here represented, and so I think that that comes with time. You criticize her for the way that she moves. I think that that's only to be done very speculatively. I think that's a female that's still incredibly sound structured, and I like the way that she angles up whenever she's on the standstill too. Come back down here to the end of the line. These are my 2 favorites out here that I'm deciding between. Our March Heavy Bred, a female that really puts a lot together in terms of just being a combination kind of cow prospect. She's big in the places that she needs to be, but not overpowering. You like the smooth power that she lays on her muscle skeleton there. A female that's a little bit coarser in some areas, though. Maybe not quite as fresh as you find at the other end of the line out here. For that reason, I think there's one that just grabs your eye a little bit quicker out here today. Young lady with that calf, you're going to win this open show too, and we'll follow her right up with that oldest female for reserve.
All right, congratulations. Your grand champion optimizer female goes to back number 701, FFCC Glamorous Guppy, 390J, exhibited by Lauren Frederick of Hutchinson, Kansas. Your reserve champion optimizer female goes to back number 706, JB Holly 2H, exhibited by Jace Belts of Canton, Kansas. Once again, congratulations to all of our optimizer female exhibitors. All right, up next, we will get to our Optimizer Bull Show. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Rowell Cattle Company, for sponsoring the Optimizer Bull Show.
Well, quite the presence to start off the Optimizer Bull Show here. A nice young bull, blaze-faced option with a lot of pizzazz. You like the power that he brings out here, but it's not overwhelming. It lays on his skeleton quite adequately and still gives him an ounce of smoothness or an attitude of smoothness as you look at him from front to rear. Where you get critical of this guy probably is just in his hip and hind leg construction. Just wants to falter ever so slightly as he takes out and steps on those rear two, but perhaps that's a management issue. Those toes are getting kind of close together, and I think his angulation is right as you study him on the standstill here. That one's going to make a really nice addition to this young lady's herd.
And congratulations, your grand champion, Optimizer Bull, goes to back number 722, PH Bedrock 3J, exhibited by Sagiitis of Alden, Iowa. All right, at this time we have Class 2 late spring heifer calves in the ring.
Well, a nice pair of March heifers to kick off your pure open show, and I'll talk about the young ladies here at the end. She'll be your class winner in this deal. A female that's just more pulled apart at the underside of her skeleton. You see more daylight at her chest floor there, a little bit bigger stature as she goes to the surface, and then still a little bit bigger and more robust in that center section there, just a notch more maternal in her overall kind. I think that both these females could be cleaned up just a shot to make you like them a little bit nicer, a little bit zipper fronted, but a female that as long as she keeps that chest floor in her, I really like that depth and spring that she brings us to this intersection there. A really powerful kind of cow option. The female that's coming next, one that really is extended from end to end, really square in her kind. Just wish that we could pull her apart and widen that gauge throughout that center part of her skeleton. A female that just needs time to catch up with the frame and the extension that she's got, but a really classy kind of option to round out this class.
And your results for Class 2 late spring heifer calves. Congratulations. First place goes to back number 703, TTG Blossom Julia 40J, exhibited by Taylor Yearling in McPherson, Kansas. Second place goes to back number 702, TTG Justina 43J, exhibited by Taylor Yearling of McPherson, Kansas. And at this time, we have Class 4 early junior heifer calves in the ring.
There you go. Come on in the center. Set her up right there. A pair of January heifers here, really different in their type and kind. You've got a really shapely kind of option here that I think just has more genuine width. You're working through her entire skeleton, just built a little bit bolder and wider. Not as big-footed, not as big structured, but a female that I think has a notch more angulation to that front 1/3 and to that knee. And I like her foot shape and just the way that she gets out and goes a notch neater. She is the more shapely option of the two, therefore I'll be the first to admit she's a little bit rounder off of either end of her skeleton. Just wants to round ever so slightly out of her hip into the base of her shoulder there, but still one that I think you call feminine, still one that, like I said, I think gives you a little bit more to go on. Not to take away from the one that we've got rounding out this class. That's a really deep-sided, really cowy looking one from the profile. It's just as we watch her get out and go, she's a little more restricted on those rear two than I'd like to see. You step off on a front 3/4 of her, and she just doesn't quite have the rib shape that you want to see. She's a little bit flatter when you get onto that upper rib and forerib there. Two really good January heifers that push each other to the end.
And your results from Class 4 early junior heifer calves. Congratulations. First place goes to back number 705, GGT Bloom 160J, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Seaman, Oklahoma. Second place goes to back number 704, WWB Jillian 34J, exhibited by Fox Grape Farm of Piney River, Virginia.
Good to see this female back out here in the open show. A female that really brings a lot of shapes to the table there. Not the deepest in her heart or the most robust in her forerib or the stoutest to the surface, but one that puts a big combination package together in a really attractive and stylish kind of manner. Good on her feet and legs. Good to see her back out here. We'll see how she stacks up in the final line.
And congratulations. Your results from Class 10 junior yearling heifers. First place goes to back number 707, GGT Willers 469H, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. Up next, we have Class 11 Junior Yearling Heifers entering the ring with 2 entries.
We'll leave this pair as they come to us here. One that we've seen also in a past life, but still I think you've got a tie to just the little bit edgy, more squareness, a little bit more shapeliness that you find in the female here at the front of the lineup, and that's not to take away from the structural integrity that you've got coming in second here, but that's a really nice pair.
And your results from Class 11 Junior Yearling Heifers. Congratulations. First place goes to back number 709, JCGC Heidi 012H, exhibited by Brittany Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri. Second place goes to back number 708, CBH Harmony 006H, exhibited by Christian Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri.
We see these females back out here for a division, and I think that where you've got to place your priorities in this lineup is just in structural integrity and skeleton here. Nothing to take away from the female up here at the front of the line. I just don't like how she pushes that shoulder and kind of wants to swing that knee ever so slightly. For that reason, I'm going to give the advantage to the young ladies there behind her. You'll be the division champion, and we'll follow her up with you, young lady, for reserve.
All right. Congratulations. Your senior champion heifer goes to back number 707, GT Willers 469H, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma. Your reserve champion senior heifer goes to back number 709, JCGC Heidi 012H, exhibited by Brittany Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri. As we're getting our cattle lined up here for our grand drive, we would like to thank some of the sponsors again. The division awards were sponsored by Larry Wright Cattle Company, GG&T Cattle Company, and DFO Cattle Services. So once again, thank you to those sponsors that help make this show and those banners available for our exhibitors, and certainly couldn't do it without them. Once again, for those of you that are just joining us, we would like to thank our judge, Mr. Taylor Shackelford here of Oklahoma City, for spending his afternoon with us and lining up the Optimizer and Celliers classes.
Well, it's been a relatively quick day so far, but the quality has not been lacking. And even in this lineup of 3 here, I am really pleased with what we find ourselves in front of. You've got a March heifer up here at the front that's probably the biggest in her skeleton, the biggest footed, the squarest footed. Love the flexibility that she has on the go. It's not probably the prettiest in how she carries her spine, but I think that she's sound for days. A female that brings you a lot of turn and shape to that midrib, and plenty of width and stoutness when you get off on that front 3/4 and behind her. At this stage, she's really extended and really kind of growing on us here. When she bodies down and really starts to woof up like what you find toward the end of this lineup here, I think that her best days are only ahead of her. As a bred, I'd be excited to get a good look at her. You've got a little cleaner fronted option here that comes in the second class there. Female that comes back out here, really proportionate in her kind. We talked about her in the junior show even for that same advantage, and I think she brings that to us out here yet again. Maybe a little more refined to the surface, maybe not quite as bold in her pieces that she lays on her skeleton, but again, one that fits it together really nicely for us. A really attractive kind of package on her too. And then you come back to the oldest heifer here, the one who came out of that division with the most competition there, a female that is really shapely in her pattern, is really maternal through that center rib there, not the biggest hearted, not the biggest in her forerib, and not the biggest at the surface, but she is a good combination kind of cattle. I wish she was maybe dropping a more consistent teat development and udder development there, but a female that's going to go out into the pasture, I think, and still have all the right pieces to make a really nice cow prospect for that young lady's herd. I think it's a close call between either end of the line up here. For me, I just got to go with that older heifer here today. I like what she's laying on that skeleton. Congratulations, young lady. We'll bring in your reserve division for reserve contention.
And congratulations, your grand champion heifer goes to back number 707, GT Willers 469H, exhibited by Brooklyn Matlock of Cement, Oklahoma.
You bring in the reserve out of our oldest division, and one that, again, is at that stage of maturity where she's starting to kind of look like a cow prospect, one that's a little more refined in her teat and udder development there, a female that really is proportionate in the lines that she draws you down top, or down her top line and down low, a female that brings a lot of good out here to the table, even if she is starting to look a little bit like a cow. But for me, it's being able to look like a cow and still being able to handle yourself and put together a show ring kind of presence. That's the reason I like her second best. Young lady, congratulations. She'll reserve this show for us.
And congratulations to back number 709, JCGC Heidi 012H, exhibited by Brittany Hirsch of Thayer, Missouri, with her reserve grand champion heifer. Once again, congratulations to all of our open exhibitors. Up next, we will start our Celliers Bull Show. And at this time, we will start our Celliers Bull Show. From Class 1, Summer Bull Calves, we have back number 716, RMF Josiah J24, exhibited by Rocky Meadow Farm of Rocky Mount, Virginia. From Class 4, early Junior Bull Calves, we have back number 717, WWB Jefferson 2J, exhibited by Fox Grape Farm of Piney River, Virginia. From Class 5, we have back number 719, RMF Hemingway, HB3, exhibited by Rocky Meadow Farm. And from Class 7, Summer Yearlings, we have back number 720, RMF Huckleberry, exhibited by Rocky Meadow Farm of Rocky Mount, Virginia. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, GG&T Cattle Company, for sponsoring the champion banners, and also the Division Award, sponsored by Larry Wright Cattle Company, GG&T Cattle Company, and DFO Cattle Services.
Well, four really nice bull prospects out here in your pure show. Talk about the youngest one here, circling for us. An individual that brings you a lot of extension, a lot of youthfulness, a big pin kind of bull that you just wish took a little bit more squareness down to the surface. Love the flexibility that he's got on the move. A bull that's getting just a little bit longer in his toe, and it looks like you guys probably had some more rain where you're at than what we did this year, because it's unfortunate that he shucked some of that hair down there right by his hoof bed. But a bull that, like I said, you love the angulation, love the skeleton that he brings you out here. Maybe just wish that he was more with the rest of the pack right now in terms of just having that body and that fill to his center section to catch up to what he's got already in terms of skin down there in his chest floor. Bull that comes out of the second class here. This is your real rugged option. Bull that's big at the top of his skull, big at the surface, really flexible as he gets out and goes as well. The one that's probably got the rib cage I like the best out of anything out here. Love to see a big middle in him. I was taught growing up that bulls are all about butts, guts, and nuts, and I think that this guy's just got that. You come back to the one out of the third class here. Bull that's really extended in his kind, really smooth in his muscle pattern there. For the amount of muscle that he's got, I do wish that he probably got out and went just a little bit more attractive. He's got the skeleton that looks like it should, but when he gets out and goes, just not quite as attractive. Really kind of needs to get with the program and kind of muscle up and fill up on us here. And then you come down to the last class, a bull that is big and rugged in parts of his features, but it's when you study him through that center section there, study him through that front three-quarter, I just don't know that he's quite as pulled apart as some of the other ones you find out here and quite as robust to the top side of his rib cage there, but you can't deny that from the standstill off here on a profile, that's a really attractive kind of individual that's got some big pieces and got some parts that you can definitely tie to and expect that he'll pass on to the next generation. I think this is a tough call. It's a nice set of bulls here you guys have, but for me, I like the one here out of the second class to go ahead and be your champion. We'll follow up with that oldest bull back there for reserve.
And congratulations, your grand champion bull goes to Fox Grape Farm of Piney River, Virginia, with WWB Jefferson 2J. And your reserve grand champion bull goes to Rocky Meadow Farm of Rocky Mount, Virginia, with RMF Huckleberry. Once again, congratulations to all of our Slayers and Optimizer exhibitors.